My stepfather took his family on a secret vacation. Without me, I went to my dad's and it triggered total chaos. It started on a Thursday afternoon. I came home from school to find the house way too quiet. No yelling, no cartoons, no "can you take the chicken out" text from my mom. Just silence. I didn't think much of it at first, thought maybe they'd gone out to eat or something, until I saw a note on the kitchen counter written in my mom's rushed, messy handwriting. Went to the lake for a few days with Brian and the boys. Back Sunday. There's food in the fridge. Love you. No mention of me going. No wish you were coming. No heads up. Nothing. Just went to the lake, like I was a roommate, not her daughter. I stood there in the kitchen for a full minute, bag still on my shoulder, shoes still on, staring at that note like it was a breakup letter. Brian is my stepdad. His 2 kids, my stepbrothers, live with us full time. They're loud and messy and not bad kids, but Brian treats them like royalty and me like a tenant who hasn't paid rent. And my mom? She acts like the referee who gave up calling fouls years ago. So I texted her, "You guys went to the lake?" No reply. Then about 30 minutes later, "Sorry, babe. It was last minute. We didn't know you'd be home. Just relax and enjoy the house to yourself." I didn't even know how to reply to that. I mean, really? I live here. I'm your kid. How do you forget to tell your own daughter you're leaving town? You remembered the snacks, the sunscreen, the boys' fishing poles. But not me? That night, I sat on the couch with a microwave dinner, scrolling through Instagram. Guess what I found? My mom posting stories, laughing with Brian in a boat, boomerangs of the boys jumping in the lake, captioned "family time." That was it. Not our family, just theirs. So I packed a bag, texted my dad, who I barely see because it's more stable for me to stay with mom. "Can I come stay with you this weekend?" He replied in 30 seconds. "Of course, always." My dad's apartment isn't fancy. It's got mismatched furniture, a dented coffee table, and a weird draft that always sneaks in through the sliding glass door. But when I walked in that night with my duffel bag on my shoulder, I felt more at home there in 5 seconds than I had in the past 5 years at my mom's. "You okay?" my dad asked, watching me drop my stuff by the door. I nodded. But my face said otherwise. So I told him everything. The note, the vacation, the Instagram story, the "enjoy the house to yourself" text like I was a goldfish they'd forgotten to feed. And my dad? He didn't try to downplay it. He didn't say "I'm sure they meant well" or "it was probably just a mistake." He just sat there and said, "That's messed up. I'm sorry." Simple, honest. No sugarcoating. Just real. That night, we watched old movies, ordered pizza. I fell asleep on the couch with a blanket that still smelled like him and not the over-sanitized Febreze cloud my stepdad uses to cover up his beer stink. It should have ended there. A quiet weekend, me getting space, them coming back sunburned and guilty, and us all pretending like nothing happened. But things never go that clean when resentment's been simmering this long. The next morning, I woke up to 20 missed calls. Mostly from my mom, then Brian, then my grandma. Apparently, my mom had finally realized I wasn't at the house, and the fact that I left without telling her sent her into a tailspin. She thought I was missing, had no idea where I'd gone, claimed she was sick with worry, even though the only message she sent me the night before was, "Try not to burn the house down." Now she came. Now she was in panic, not because she missed me, but because it didn't look good. She called again. This time I answered. "Where are you? You scared the hell out of us." I said, "I'm with Dad. He knows I'm here and I'm fine." Dead silence. Then, "You should have told us. You can't just run off like that." Run off? I wasn't a toddler wandering into traffic. I was a teenager who got left behind like a pair of socks on laundry day. I said, "You should have told me you were leaving, but you didn't, so now we're even." She tried to talk, but I hung up, because in that moment, I realized something huge. I didn't feel bad, not even a little, and that scared her more than anything. They showed up the next day, not just texts, not just calls. They came to my dad's place, my mom, Brian, and my 2 stepbrothers in the back seat of their minivan, still wearing the vacation in their tan lines and messy hair. They didn't even knock. I looked out the window and saw my mom marching up to the front door with that tight, furious mom face like she was the one who had been wronged. Dad answered before I could. "She's fine," he said, standing halfway in the doorway. "You don't get to decide that," my mom snapped. "She lives with me." "Funny," he replied. considering you didn't seem to remember that 2 days ago." Brian stepped up beside her, arms crossed, his mouth already open to throw fuel on the fire. "This whole thing is ridiculous," he said, eyeing me behind my dad's shoulder. "She's acting like a victim when she just wanted to sulk and punish us." Punish them? My jaw clenched. My hands curled into fists. That was it. I stepped forward. "You left me. You didn't forget me. You just didn't think I mattered enough to invite." "Don't twist it," Brian said. "We figured you'd be doing your own thing." "Doing my own thing? What thing?" "Sitting in an empty house while you took the real family out to play house by the lake. That's when I lost it. I'm not a guest in my own life. I'm your daughter, and I'm done being treated like some leftover obligation while you play happy family with your kids." My mom looked stunned. Brian muttered, "Jesus," under his breath and turned to leave. But before he did, he looked me dead in the eyes and said, "This is why we didn't bring you," and walked off. My dad stepped in fast, holding me by the shoulder as my mom stared, frozen. That was the moment everything broke. My mom didn't defend me. She didn't even flinch when Brian said it. She just stood there, mouth open, waiting for me to apologize. I didn't. Instead, I said something I didn't plan, but it came out clean. "I'm staying here now." "That with Dad. You don't need to worry about me anymore." And she actually tried to say, "Don't be dramatic." But it was too late, because the second I shut the door behind them, I felt something I hadn't felt in years, power, and I wasn't giving it back. After the door closed, I stood there, my back against the wood, heart racing. My mom's car backed out of the driveway without a word. No texts, no calls, just gone again. Dad looked over at me, quiet at first. "You all right?" I wanted to say yes. I wanted to say I felt empowered and strong and like I'd finally taken control. But really, I felt like someone had ripped out everything soft in me and replaced it with ice. So I just nodded. The text started an hour later. From my mom. "You didn't have to embarrass me like that. I'm your mother. I deserve more respect. You're being manipulated. Don't let your dad turn you against me." That last one? That's when I knew she still didn't get it. I wasn't being turned by anyone. I wasn't part of a custody war. I was just done pretending that being treated like a stranger was normal. And Brian? He doubled down. He emailed me, like some corporate boss writing a formal reprimand. "You're too old to be this sensitive. Families don't always move in sync, and you're not the only person who matters. Grow up." I read it twice, just to make sure it said what I thought it said. Then I blocked him. That night, I sat across from my dad at the kitchen table while we ate takeout noodles straight from the container. "I don't know how to go back," I said. "Then don't," he replied. Just like that. I blinked. "What do you mean?" He leaned forward, elbows on the table. "I've always thought you'd be better off with your mom because she had the house, the structure. But that was my mistake. I let them shut me out of your life for too long because I thought it was what you needed. But now? If you want to stay here, you can. I'll make space. I'll fight for it if I have to." And that was the first time I saw it. Not just support, but accountability. He wasn't perfect, but he showed up. He wasn't pretending he'd been a flawless dad. But he was choosing to be present now. And suddenly, all the noise from the other side, my mom's guilt trips, Brian's toxic lectures, it all faded. Because someone was finally saying, "You matter." And they meant it. I should have known it wouldn't end quietly. A few days passed. I was going to school from my dad's place, doing my homework at his kitchen table, falling asleep to the hum of the old ceiling fan instead of the silence of being unwanted. For the first time in forever, I was doing okay. Then came the school counselor summons. "We need to talk about your living situation," she said gently. Apparently, someone, guess who, had called the school claiming I was in an unstable environment and skipping between homes. My mom, trying to get leverage, trying to make it look like I was some confused kid in crisis, instead of a teen who made a clear, conscious choice to stop living in a house where I was treated like a guest in my own life. I explained everything. The counselor nodded slowly, clearly piecing things together. "Has anyone threatened to force you back?" she asked. I hesitated. Not in those words, but they're trying to make it seem like I don't know what I'm doing. She gave me a long look, the kind that makes you feel both seen and sad all at once. "You know exactly what you're doing. Let me help document it." That night, my mom showed up at my dad's building again. Not with Brian this time. Just her. No mascara, no fancy coat, no Instagram mom mask. Please come outside, she said when I didn't open the door right away. Dad stayed inside. He didn't push me either way. I stepped out onto the porch. She stood there in the cold, arms wrapped around herself, voice shaking. I made a mistake, she said. Which one? I asked. She looked down. All of them. She started crying. Not performative, not dramatic. Real. I didn't think you cared. You've been pulling away, and I thought you didn't want to be around us. I didn't know you felt so excluded. And Brian crossed a line. I didn't stop him. I should have. For a second, I didn't know what to say. Because, yeah, the apology mattered. But so did the timing. It came after the post, after the confrontation, after the school call, after I left. So I asked her, would you have said any of this if I stayed silent? She didn't answer, because we both already knew. I didn't say much after my mom cried on the porch. I didn't hug her. I didn't scream. I just listened. Then I went back inside, closed the door gently, and left her out there with her thoughts. Because here's the thing no one tells you. Closure doesn't always come with a conversation. Sometimes it comes with a boundary. My dad asked if I was okay. I nodded. She apologized, I said. Do you believe her? He asked. I shrugged. I believe she feels bad. That's not the same thing. The next week was quiet. Too quiet. No calls, no texts, no random pop-ins. It was almost like she realized that if she kept pushing, she'd only push me further. But it didn't feel like peace. It felt like that awkward calm after a storm, where the damage hasn't been cleaned up, but the thunder finally shut up. That's when I started writing stuff down. Not for court or school or anyone else, just for me. Every time they made me feel less than. Every time I was told to be grateful for things that other kids got without question. Every moment I was treated like a burden for simply existing in my own house. I called it my ledger, not of revenge, just of memory. Because one of the worst things about being constantly gaslit is starting to forget what actually happened. But I wasn't forgetting anymore. A few days later, my mom texted me again. Would you come to family dinner? Just us? No pressure, just want to talk. I stared at the message for a long time, thumb hovering over the keyboard. And then I asked myself, what would I be walking into? A conversation or a trap? I thought about the countless nights I sat at that table feeling invisible. How Brian always cut me off when I spoke. How my mom always told me to not make things awkward. How I'd trained myself to only speak in short, non-offensive sentences like I was tiptoeing around a sleeping bear. And I realized something. I didn't miss that table. So I replied, thanks, but no. I'm not ready to come back, not just for dinner and not to live. If that changes, I'll let you know. Until then, please respect my space. She replied with, okay, I love you. I didn't say it back, not because I don't, but because I love me more now. And loving me means not giving people access to break me again, just because they suddenly regret doing it the first time. You'd think the story ends when I said no to dinner. But real endings don't come all tied up in a bow. They come quietly, slowly, in decisions you make every day. I stayed at my dad's, kept going to school, applied for a part-time job at a local bookstore. They hired me on the spot when I said I actually liked alphabetizing things. Started putting together plans for college, not just somewhere nearby, but somewhere that's mine. My mom stopped pushing. She still sends texts now and then. Thinking of you. Saw your favorite cookies today. Hope you're doing okay. They're fine, harmless, but they come like rain hitting a closed window, present, but no longer soaking me. Brian, haven't heard a thing. Good. The last thing I need is another email full of gaslighting dressed up as advice. That man thought discipline meant silencing and structure meant control. Let him stew in his own silence. I've got peace to protect. And my mom? Well, I've come to accept this. She loved me the way she knew how, which wasn't always enough. And that's not my fault. It's not hers either. But it's mine to move forward with. One day we might rebuild, but it'll be on my terms, in my time, with my voice at full volume. Until then, I'm building a life where I'm not begging to be remembered, where I don't have to scroll through vacation photos to realize I wasn't invited, where my seat at the table doesn't depend on how well I stay quiet. And honestly, there's no sweeter feeling than knowing the next time they see me, really see me, I won't be the forgotten daughter anymore. I'll be the one who walked away. and never needed to come crawling back. Drop a comment. Have you ever been treated like the outsider in your own home? What would you have done? Like, subscribe, and tap the bell for more powerful Reddit stories, emotional family drama, and unforgettable real-life twists. See you next time.